All right, Rob. Speaking of a necessary chastening, that's probably the type of spin Ty Lue, Frank Vogel,
keep going,
Monty Williams, Luke Walton, and Steve Kerr might want to put on their team when they talk to them about what happened during this glorious 5-game road trip of the Brooklyn Nets. Those are the 5 coaches of the 5 teams that the Nets played and beat. And Rob, you and I have covered this league for a long time.
For me, 1987, absolutely, a long time.
Long time. And obviously, this is not the first time a team had an undefeated road trip and all that. But I'll tell you what, it should not be belittled. It should not be minimized what type of accomplishment it is to go out west and win all 5 of your games against good teams. Everybody except Sacramento had a winning record, and Sacramento was actually playing well a few weeks ago.
And I'll give you this. 4 of those games without your best player. 4
Absolutely.
Without your best player.
The 4 against the 4 best teams. Right? Against Phoenix and Golden
because
State
they beat
the 2
they
LA
beat
teams.
Sacramento, right, with them.
So, absolutely, Rob. And you wrote a column about it on Deadspin, so I know you want to talk about the Nets and how good they look.
I just think they're scary good right now. When you think about it and look at the numbers, 14-1, leading after 3, 6-1, Chris, against the elite teams. Only loss was a back-to-back against Philadelphia with no Kyrie and no KD. That's the game they lost against the elites. They have now won 8 straight games against the Western Conference. Chris, the numbers, the lead of my column, the numbers are stupid with 2 O's. That they're stupid numbers. Because you're right.
When you spelled it with 2 O's?
Yeah, I spelled it stupid.
So that makes it look like the numbers aren't the only thing that's stupid.
That's not what the editor said when I sent my column in. You know, like, dude, you say stupid. Do you know how to spell stupid?
Let me just to make sure that this is a part of what you're saying. You're writing. You did this on purpose.
But you know what I was trying to get at was,
right.
And you just said it. You cannot poo-poo a 5-0 West Coast trip without your best player. And even last night, you know, can we talk about the Clippers coming off a big win, Chris? Right? They beat Utah. They beat Utah, stopped their 9-game winning streak.
Not only that, they beat Utah, as you mentioned. They were healthy, right? They were whole. I know Paul George had to sit out the last couple minutes, you know, because of his minutes restriction, but they were whole. The Nets outplayed them the whole way.
Yep.
You can argue that the Clippers may have won had George been there, and that's fine. I don't even care if they had won. It was a bad call at the end of the game on Kawhi. That shouldn't have been a charge, so maybe the Clippers could have won. Even if they had won, I would have been no less impressed. The Nets outplayed them the entire game. And so it still would have been an impressive trip to me.
Without their best player.
But beyond that, they did win. They beat Utah. They were whole. And remember, Rob, the Nets had beaten them a couple of weeks ago.
Yep,
so you know
Brooklyn.
The Clippers wanted to get revenge.
They
didn't want to be swept. This could be the team. Maybe these 2 teams meet in the finals for all we know.
Could have been. The Clippers ought to have the second best record in the Western Conference behind Utah. They had coming off a win against Utah. That was their game, Chris. There could have been a statement there. Instead, the Nets made a real statement. And anybody, all the naysayers, Chris, here we go. Remember when the trade happened? Here's what people said. There's only one ball. They're going to be bickering because there's only one ball. Who's going to take the shot? This is not going to work. They got too many. Remember that? We heard that. Then, defense wins championships. You can't win unless you play some defense. That's how you win championships. I don't think anybody's saying that now, and I'm not saying that they can't get better. They've already, Chris, from dead last in defense, they're up to number 15, and it keeps getting better. They held the Lakers and LeBron James under 100 points. So the defense is getting better, and I think their record is 6-1 when all 3 of them have played together. So when they get more, when they get those guys together,
I think 5-2. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
5-2. When they get their stuff, their team together, and if they add a Drummond or a defender, Chris, another player, they'll be very difficult to beat, especially 4 out of 7.
Right. I'm with you. And here's the thing. I'm glad you actually brought up, there were the two question marks before they started playing games together early in the campaign was, can they play together offensively and can they defend? And I'm glad you brought it up because I want to bring this up. And this is why I was so adamant that it is a travesty that he's not starting in the All-Star game. Rob, and we both agree, and I think virtually everybody believes that Kevin Durant is the Nets' best player.
Yep.
But James Harden has been their MVP. And I think watching the games, I don't know how anybody could argue. Maybe you'll argue. I don't know how anybody could argue.
No, you can't argue because of Durant.
He's already played only 13 fewer games. Durant's missed 13 games.
Durant's missed too many games to be able to say that he's the MVP of the team.
But
and
even
Harden,
when he's been out there, and I do think, look, Durant's the key. Like, I think Durant and Harden without Kyrie, Durant and Kyrie without Harden would have a great chance to win the championship. I'm not so sure, as good as they've looked on this West Coast trip, without Durant and with KD or with Kyrie and Harden, I think it'd still be a challenge for them to win it all. But here's why I say Harden's been the MVP. And I'm going to be honest, Rob. If he plays pretty much the whole second half of the season and he is playing like this and they, let's say they run off a tremendous record, he's going to have a shot at the MVP award. I will not hold Houston against him. It was the way he left and all that.
Right,
I will not hold it against him. And here's the deal. He leads the net. We know he's averaging 25 points a game. All right. He leads the Nets in rebounding, Rob. James Harden, 8.5 a game. He leads the Nets and the league in assists, 11.5 a game. He leads the Nets in PER. And beyond all that, he's shooting 50% from the floor, 41% from three. He's taking fewer than 16 shots a game to get his 25
points.
Which
people thought was not possible, Chris, from what he did in Houston, right?
Well, I knew it was possible, but I didn't think it was probable, I guess. Because if you watch him at Oklahoma City, when he came in the game off the bench and played with Westbrook and Durant, he was the playmaker. He was the point guard. And so you knew he had the skills, but it was just, man, has he gotten so used to, taking 22
No, that's what I mean, right.
Game.
Like,
yeah.
he wouldn't be able to back off of that because of what he became a star in Houston, right? Let's just be honest.
Yep. He became a superstar. All-time great.
Right.
Yep.
And so it ain't that easy, but he wanted desperately to go to Brooklyn, and he's done everything, Chris. I don't even know how you could look at him and think what a player he is. I mean, I think
phenomenal.
He's a better player now looking at this than when he was scoring all those points and just, you know what I mean? Like
he's getting to showcase his whole game.
Man, he can play.
I'll give you that. You're right. I'll give you that. And here's the thing, Rob, and you mentioned the defense. If you watch them, and first let me give props to Kyrie and Harden because, we know they're not all league defenders, but they are putting forth effort. They are getting down.
That's all you have to do. That's
right.
what you need to do. You
Both
can't stop people.
Both of them spent time on Kawhi Leonard yesterday. Harden spent time on Serge Ibaka. I mean, just going at it. And what that's done, Rob, coupled with their selflessness, Harden playing point, taking fewer shots, Kyrie moving to the 2, getting off the ball, giving up the ball, I think that set a tone for the others. Because now the others, Tyler Johnson, Jeff Green, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, they
playing
know,
great.
Rob, all they have to do is cut, move to the basketball, stand, spot up on the three-point line, and they're going to get the ball. Yes.
Yep.
They're getting their touches, and they're happy about it, and their stars are encouraging them to shoot. So what are they doing? Giving it their all on the defensive end. And like you said, that's part of it. Those dudes are hustling on the defensive end, and we're not saying they're an awesome defensive team. They're middle of the pack, but that's enough with the firepower.
And here's the other thing, too, is I think ultimately, Chris, when you look at the Nets, they're must-see TV right now.
My gosh.
How don't you want to watch a Brooklyn Nets game We talked about it before. For the first time ever, the Nets are beating the Knicks in New York on the TV rating.
They should be smashing the Knicks.
Right? How in the world could you not want to watch them play?
No, I'm sorry. You're right. If you're a fan of basketball,
right,
every game is must-see TV. And I will throw this out. Obviously, we're throwing petunias and flowers and all types of stuff at them right now. I will say this, and as much as I like Kyrie and his game, obviously, it's possible he gets an attitude, gets moody or whatever. But I'm not going to harp on that. But yesterday at the end of the game, he did go a bit rogue. He took 2 threes early in the shot clock that were just unnecessary. That, gave the Clippers a chance to win that game. So Kyrie can't get in that mode where he's got to be the one taking the shot at the end or anything like that. All of them got to stay the course. The open man shoots it. The hot man gets it, whatever you want to call it. But that's one red flag I'll throw out on an otherwise absolutely phenomenal West Coast trip. And the Nets are, Rob said it, the Nets are scary. Are you as impressed with the Nets as Rob and I are? And do you agree that Harden's their MVP? At least right now.
All right. Let's do it. Let's kick it off with, what is that, friend? What is that?
Francesca?
Francois? Okay, I'm sorry, Francois. Parlez-vous français? Francois in New York. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Long-time listener, first-time caller. How you guys doing?
Man,
good,
appreciate
brother.
it.
Thanks
You
for
must be
calling
in the
in.
5 boroughs. I hear a little New York accent. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm actually in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Rochester, upstate. Okay.
Upstate.
Yeah, definitely. I was just calling the way. Yeah, the Nets are actually way more impressive than I thought, but it's a little bit, I think, they're only working with 2 superstars. It'd be interesting to see how those guys look when they add KD. But as far as James Harden being the MVP for the team, I was going to go a step further and say I think he should be in consideration for MVP of the league. I think the turmoil that he had with Houston kind of, had people kind of a bad taste in their mouth. But who's doing what James Harden is doing? Like you said, he's giving you about 25 or more a night. He's leading the league in assists. He's playing good on the defensive end. And the Nets are, number 2 in the Eastern Conference? I think he should be in that conversation.
Only a
I
half a
agree.
game
Like I
out of
said,
Philly. Yep.
Right. They're going to pass Philly in short order, I would think. But, yeah, I think, look, if he continues to play, virtually every game over the second half of the season and continues to play like this and they're winning, I think he'll have a shot. Rob, here's the thing, and a lot of people may say that because obviously most superstars, you would have to be a bit concerned about, okay, when we drop them in there, how's it going to fit? We're taking shots away from these guys, and he's going to handle the ball a lot. With KD, though, he's such an efficient player. He can catch and shoot. He can get you 30 points on 16 shots.
Yep.
His first year in Golden State,
it don't take him 28 shots to get 30.
His first year in Golden State, he took fewer shots than Stephen Clay per game and still obviously was very effective. So I think he's one of those unique guys that you pretty much can drop in there and it shouldn't be an issue. But we'll see. We will see. I don't expect a problem with that. I would be more worried if it was, Durant.
One of the other
Harden.
two sitting out, right, and they had to come in and get in court. I totally agree. I think it's different. Durant's a different kind of guy. Mark in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Mark?
What's going on, gentlemen? I know Alex ain't here today.
That's right. You already know. Yep.
Right.
And by the way, Rob, 10.5 Black Stacey Adams. That's at the end of the year, okay? Let's get back to what's going on. Let's get those back to what's going on.
Some Stacey Hamptons. You're going to get you some Stacey Hamptons, believe me.
Keep talking, Chris. Keep talking. Wait till I come to New Jersey.
Real quick, we had this conversation last week about James Harden and the one-on-one. Now you know why James Harden is a better one-on-one player than Kyrie Irving. Just the things that he can do. He's to me in the last couple of weeks, and he's getting into that MVP conversation. You can see it. He was the one who made the adjustment quicker than anybody else because he had played with Russ and KD before. He was the one who had to make the adjustments when he came off the bench and they played together in OKC. He's the one that made the adjustment the quickest. He's the one that's been kind of gluing that together. I'm impressed with James Harden has done, and he's played a little defense. I'm impressed with what he's done. I would put him in that MVP category. He keeps this up. And the only other player that has been more consistent to him, and he doesn't get the publicity, that damn Joker out in Denver, man, that is one skilled cat to watch. Those two dudes, those two dudes, him and James Harden, they're right there with LeBron if LeBron's not careful. They're coming.
Well,
They've been playing some great ball.
Jokic's only problem right now is they're not winning enough games. I think they're the 7th seed or something. Yeah, if they're winning, if they're battling for a top 3 seed, then he's got a great chance to win it. No doubt.
And here's the other thing, too, with LeBron and their little swoon they're having right now, Chris. You know what I mean? Like, it could sway things.
He's come back to the pack.
Things.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue for Embiid and any of these guys.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Too late.